Hey, what's up, everybody? Keith Snyden here, Doctor of Physical Therapy. And what I want to go over today is just to share some of the masks that I've been using for the last, well, couple months, couple of years, and kind of go over what's going to be the most effective to kind of help you get through this next wave of Omicron. I still see people in person a lot. They come into my house. Most of them vaccinated, some of them not. Obviously, vaccination does not mean you're not going to get infected. And we have a little one under 5. Our son Easton is not yet even 3. He'll be 3 in February. So we're just trying hard to sort of keep getting infected to not give it to him. So I'm just used to wearing masks. I've just evolved my mask use into better products as I've learned more. I've learned a lot from people like Dr. Michael Osterholm of the University of Minnesota, CIDRAP, the Center for Infectious Disease and Research Policy, and he's very pro masking, but it's got to be the right kind of masks. And there's been a lot of mixed messaging on masking and what type of mask. Of course, in the beginning they were saying don't wear masks, save it for the the healthcare workers. But that was like like the N95 type of stuff, which we'll talk about when they were in very short supply. So now there's a just ample supply of masks now. So there's really no reason why people should still be going out or going into indoor places wearing cloth masks or those little like goiter things. Like those things are just maybe good for the ski slopes or something, but those things are terrible. Those things are not effective. And then you have just kind of like your surgical mask or like your common mask like this, which I wore for quite a long time once I stopped using the cloth mask. And these are a little bit better, especially if they have like some polypropylene in here, but a lot of them do not. Maybe 2 or 3 layers. There's a lot of gapping right here, so when you talk or cough, the air can come this way, shoot behind you. There's a wire here. It's not amazing, but there can be a lot of, like if you breathe, if you inhale, you get this mask collapse that kind of goes in. So this is better than cloth in most cases, but not really as good as we can be doing because we have such good products that are out there now. There's really no reason that people should be wearing kind of subpar masks, especially with the new variant and even Delta, which once we really realized this thing was airborne. So the droplets that could come out of your mouth. That was kind of what they were saying in the beginning. The 6 feet distancing, all that stuff just doesn't work anymore. Think of like cigarette smoking, right? If you're 6 feet from somebody, it's not going to take you very long before you smell it because that's an aerosol. So that's what's happening with this virus is it's an aerosol. So ventilation, having like I have a very strong HEPA filter in my room over here that I'm constantly making sure that it's running because I have people in here. It's an enclosed space. I just put a screen door on. I have a window open. You got to have ventilation, but if you can't, a lot of these places are cold. Right now it's winter. It's December. You got to have, you got to make sure you have good protection for yourself. And if you have good protection for yourself, it's better protection for the people around you. So it's not just about you. You're actually helping them. So if you got nothing, obviously wear cloth or whatever. If it's like multiple stitch layers, that's better. This on top of the cloth, that might actually drive some of the air out, the leaks, and might not be that much better. So you can step up then to like a KN95. A KN95 is the sort of Chinese equivalent of an N95. The problem is there's so many fakes, especially if you get them off like Amazon, that it's very difficult to know if you're getting something legitimate. So I'll put some websites here that are going to give you some better ideas of where to look to actually get authentic KN95. So this is one that's from China. That's actually been tested. I think it actually works pretty well. I don't really like the way it fits my face. It has a good nose wire here, but I have a big head, and I feel like I'm very restricted with my talking. And after wearing it, even for just a little bit, I get a really red nose, and it's very irritated. So I always have one of these on me, like in my fanny pack or my little like man satchel thing that I wear, and it's just quick and easy to put on if I'm only going to wear it for like a few minutes. So my preferred choice are these KF94s, right? So This is one called an LG Air Wash, and I learned about these from a guy named Aaron Collins, also called Mask Nerd, like on Twitter. He has a YouTube channel just under his name, Aaron Collins, and he's from Minnesota, and he deals like he's in like the aero industry in terms of like air quality. Um, so he tests all the masks out there and was figuring out that so many of the masks that were out there were fraud, were counterfeits, or just don't work well. And then he started testing these KF94s, and they work really, really well. And they're a lot easier to wear for longer periods of time than like the N95s. Like this is one that I got before I knew about the KF94s. It's by a company called Buellcore, and it actually works pretty well. Um, but it is so flipping tight that I can only wear it for like a few minutes before I have to take it off. It just gives me a headache. It is just so tight. So there's so many different types of masks that are out there. So you got to find one that actually fits you pretty well. This works well. It's a NIOSH approved. So if you're gonna wear a N95, you want a NIOSH approved one that's like totally legitimate. So I'll go over that in a sec. But these KF94s are called, it's a boat style. And this boat style, you have to kind of open it up for those of you that haven't used them. And they have the ear loops, so instead of the head strap. So not quite as strong as fit as the N95. You really need protection. Obviously, healthcare workers or people that are exposed to, sick people, like wear an N95. But these are pretty darn good if you're just going to be like in a public place. And there's so many different kinds. You can find one that's gonna feel good and fit well. So this is the which one is this? This is actually made by LG, which makes like home appliances, and these are all Korean. They're South Korean. So KF94 is like their FDA version of like a sort of public approved N95. So they have to be at least 94% in terms of their particle filtration efficiency. Which is a fancy term for like how many of like small little particles that are like zero point 0.3 microns are going to get through. And all of these, like an N95 or a legitimate KN95, are going to have like a polypropylene layer that's going to literally, it's going to block some of those particles, and it actually can kind of just like harm the virus if it gets trapped in there. So before it gets into you. And the good thing about these is that unless you get it soiled or you're like really in a infected area with a lot of sick people, you can wear them for up to like 40 hours is what I learned from Aaron Collins. So you don't have to, it's not like a one and done like these type of things. Obviously the cloth ones you have to wash, but I'll wear these on a rotating basis for, like I'll wear one and then I'll wear a different brand. Like every 4 or 5 days, I'll wear it again. And if there was any kind of virus on the outside, by then it will pretty much have died, right? So if we're worried about, all the virus that's on things, we're worried about like a fomite transmission is what you would call that. And what we're finding with COVID is that's really not how it's primarily transmitted. It is an aerosol. It is airborne. So it's the 6 feet thing doesn't work. The little particle plastic things, pretty much not. That's for droplets. Well, this is worse than that because it's airborne like smoke, right? If I had a little glass partition here, a little plastic thing, and I'm smoking, it doesn't take much time before that just sort of floats around and you're going to smell it. Well, that would be the virus, right? So that's why you need a better mask. So this one, you can see, it goes on. And the thing I like about these KF94s is that they go down further. I have a big head, like I said, so this air washer for me it's one of my favorite, and you can tighten them up, right? So you get a much more taut fit. And then you can just tuck these in on the side, and then it has a really good nose wire here, and you can just kind of mold it so there's not a lot of air that's seeping through. Obviously, there's going to be some, but it's much better than these or your cloth mask or those little goiter things. Don't use those. So this is one that I really like. Another one for a bigger face is the Bluna Face Fit, and I like them because they come in these like individual cases, so it's like it's legit. And they're not contaminated with other things. So this one I haven't even opened yet. I need a new one anyway. So you can see how they're kind of like this, and you just open it up. Again, this is the boat style. And then I'm going to put it on like this, right? And you start kind of molding it a little bit. Then it comes around here, like this, and it starts out a little too big, right? So that's where you have to tighten it up. But these ones are really, really nice. This is kind of like a one I start with. If someone's just kind of like a regular size head, it fits a lot of different people. But these are fantastic. So that's the Bluna Face Fit, and then there's a Botan by Tia, and this one's even bigger. So this is a bigger one. You got have an even bigger head. Actually, that size was a medium, so I get those for my wife. So I've recommended these to a ton of my clients, and some of them the ones that I use are a little too big. So this BOTN, this medium size fits really, really well. There's a ton of brands of these things, but I just kind of went off what this Aaron Collins guy was saying because he's sort of done all the work and he's sort of figured out what fits people better. So here's the bigger size of of this one. And I buy all these straight from like a from some Korean manufacturing like vendors websites rather than from Amazon. I know they now have them on Amazon, and I think most of them are legit. But just to be safe, I get them off of those sites. So this one's also really nice, and they have the little adjustable thing, so you can get a really nice fit. So these are my go-tos. Um, and then if I'm going to go into, because I teach as well, and a lot of my students ended up getting sick this past fall. I'm going to be teaching again in the spring. I can't imagine it's going to be any better with Omicron. So I have now found a N95. This is made by 3M. It's the Aura 9205. They have about three different ones of these. The only major difference is that some of them are more like medical grade for like surgeons. So they have more like moisture, like if water or fluids were to get in there. But they're all really, really good. So the 9205 isn't that one, but I'm not doing any surgeries or anything. And it's like the boat style. So it is much different than a lot of the regular N95. It's the most comfortable N95 I've ever used. So, and it's got a really padded kind of nose uh, sort of protector here. So it's the same boat style, so it goes on. I haven't even put this one on before, so this one's new. And then I'm going to show you. It's just they're just harder to get on and off. That's the problem. Like if you want to take a quick sip or something, it's a little bit more of a chore. So I'm here. So one of them has to go on top, right? But these are not uncomfortable. They don't give me a headache. I've worn these for an hour at a time before I take a break, and with no problems whatsoever. And then the other one goes behind, right? But it's got this nice coverage here. I can talk, I can open, and it moves with me. So, and then I come in here and I use both hands, and I can just kind of make it here. So this is probably the safest I can do. And then sometimes I wear some eye protection when I'm doing body work in close, like some goggles or like a face shield. Like this, right? And so this one is sort of my new go-to if there's any sort of higher risk. I'm going to be around unvaccinated people, or just even the vaccinated people that can be sick. So this is the or 3M. You can actually get these at Home Depot. I found a box of them at Home Depot, and then I had ordered some online before. But be careful on Amazon and other sites that it's got to be like a 3M thing, or if it's coming from some other person, it could be a fake. There's a lot of fakes of these things, but this one is sort of my new go-to. Very comfortable, super comfortable. Doesn't give me a headache. When I take it off, I do have a little bit of like lines and stuff for a little while, just because it's a very snug fit. You want a pretty snug fit with these things. So that's just some thoughts uh, on better masking to help us get through this start of the year. They also make like little kids ones, so I got some for my son. I can post sort of the links of those as well. He doesn't go out much. We don't take him out much. But they make KF94s for kids. It's the same exact thing, just like scaled down. So there's so much options now, better choices for masking that people really, you shouldn't be using these that much because they're not that helpful. The cloth, not that helpful. And those, goiter things or whatever, don't use those. Those things are terrible. So I hope that was helpful. Just wanted to give some people ideas of how to keep themselves safe, how to keep your family safe, how to protect yourself, as well as be uh, protecting others. So you don't have these big gaps and you're just, spraying out all this air out of the back. And again, the KF94s are going to be probably the most applicable to the average person, and you can wear them for long periods of time, and not feel like you're just, like it's super uncomfortable like a N95. But if you need to use one, again, the new 3Ms are really good. So if I get more interesting options, I'll post them, just because I'm just trying to help keep people healthy. All right. Happy New Year. Happy holidays, everybody.